Hey, everybody. The NHL has officially suspended the rest of the 2019-2020 season. Now it's suspended, so that's not canceled. It's suspended, postponed, but not canceled. So that means at this point, they haven't canceled the season. It doesn't mean that at some point down the road they won't cancel the season, but it means right now it's not. It's suspended. It means it could be played. They're asking the teams to keep their buildings available right through to the end of July. So that means kind of, and Elliot Friedman said this on Sportsnet. You can look it up on YouTube. He believes that the NHL will do their best to get the rest of the season played and the playoffs in. Um, he agrees with me on the 14 days. It as a minimum, and then if you take the hockey guy, he also thinks it'll be 30 days, and that's what I figure. It's between the 14 days to 30 days as a minimum. If we don't go through something like is going on in Italy, if things are calmed down enough, they will start up again. If not, who knows? It could be completely canceled. But right now, it just remains suspended. If they cancel the season and playoffs, they stand to lose about 300 million or more, which could affect the salary caps going forward. 300 million is almost 10 million a team. So let's say 9 million a team in less in revenue, which means they're going to have maybe 9 million less in caps, in salary cap, and go from 81.5 that I think it is now. You might see that drop into the mid to low 70s for next season. That means contracts have to be adjusted. Something's going to have to be done. If they can get the games in, different story. Things can maybe stay the same, but that's if they can get the games in, and that's just a total unknown right now. It's going to affect the draft in June. It's going to have to be pushed back. The free agency period, July 1st, will have to be pushed back, unless, of course, they totally cancel the rest of the season. Then they can go ahead and figure out how it's going to work, and then maybe those dates can stay as long as things are calmed down. You can have the big gatherings, or they're going to do the draft by phone, like in the old days. And that's a distinct possibility. I believe the NFL might be doing it that way. So it's a distinct possibility that the draft will be kind of low key and done by phone, where so the teams and the players won't get up on stage and hug each other and all that kind of stuff. But that's in June, so we're still down the road a bit. It seems like the course of this peak period of this virus is about 3.5 months. Apparently, in China, it took 9 or 10 weeks before their sports teams were allowed to start playing again. So it's not like it'll be forever. Hopefully, there might be some kind of a what's the word I'm looking for? It changes things. So down the road, when the season starts up again, and then the following seasons, there might be more precautions taken for people entering the building, how, cleanliness wise, so this can't happen again. For other reasons, and if you're into, if you know much about viruses and the predictions for how viruses are going to affect us in the future, this might not be the only time this happens. There could be other things like this happen. So this could be setting kind of a precedent to how we go about public gatherings in the future. So literally, with the cancellation of literally all sports, with that, it's changed how the future looks, how our lives are. Our lives are going to change somewhat. Is it going to be like important where, oh my God, I can't live like this? No, I don't think that, but we'll have different things to do to keep when you go to public and you go to big gatherings. The only sports things that are teams or leagues or whatever, from what I understand, the PGA is going to continue to play, but they're not going to have spectators. And that's kind of understandable considering it's golf. And I think I did say this in a video that I think that golf would be the only, it was probably a live stream when someone asked me, golf would be the only kind of, the only sport that I could see going on, because you don't need the spectators around and you're just four guys in a foursome, and you could play. I mean, and then you could just play them one at a time, and you could maybe the tournaments would take a little longer, but you don't have to have that gathering of people to make it so dangerous. So I can see golf that they didn't announce that they're going to cancel yet. They said they're going to go on. So they've announced something and saying they aren't going to cancel. Apparently, the KHL is still playing. There is a Swedish league team, I think, still playing. And basically, like, that's it. The MLB, Major League Baseball, announced they're suspending the spring training and the first 2 weeks of the season. So because I guess spring training was almost finished, so that's basically a month. So basically, you're gonna look at a month. If we're lucky, 2 weeks, but for a month at least, we're gonna have no sports. What are we gonna do? I'm going to continue to do videos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do videos. Not to say I'm going to copy the hockey guy, because nobody copy. I mean, the hockey guy is great. I love the hockey guy. I'll never ever. You'll never hear from me that I do anything as good as him. But I'm going to copy from him a little bit in that I'm going to do videos about the league. I'm going to do Habs history. So I'll talk about things in history. I'm going to take a trip to the library and get some books about the Habs that I can, relate stories from players. I'm going to try to be creative. I'm going to write some more hockey poetry. Apparently, I'm the only one on YouTube writing hockey poetry, and maybe that's a good thing. It's a niche that I have by myself. I'm the only one writing hockey poetry. So I'll continue to do those things. So the stuff that I would have done when the season was done and the free agency period was over and all that stuff, I'm going to start doing that now. And that's it, because it looks like um, when you consider that, okay, the playoffs end when they end, then you've got the draft, then you got free agency, and a couple of weeks after that, that's basically when my season for hockey ends, and then I have about a month and a half of got to fill in, because then the preseason starts for the next season. So I don't think there's going to be that big gap. They're gonna, it's gonna be. Say they go through, like they say, keep the buildings open till the end of July, and they go to the end of July. So July 31st, Game 7, if that's what it is, of the Stanley Cup Finals, right? So now you've got August. August, you have to do the draft and the free agency period. And then September comes around. And September, by mid-September, you're in preseason. So it's a really quick turnover, and I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know how that's going to work. It doesn't, like, if they can finish by the end of July, I can see them saying, well, we can maybe delay the start of the season by a couple of weeks, give them that month, and and then have a when there's the Olympics and they have more games, like in a short period of time, right? They condense the games. They could do that. That might be how they handle next season. So they finish the playoffs by the end of July. You've got till the end of September, and you're in the beginning of training camp and all that. So I don't know. It's who knows what it's going to be. So for the channel, let me just go over this to make sure that I got everything. Also, yeah, the players have been told, this is something that is interesting. They've been told to go home, to not go out if they don't need to not travel if it's not absolutely necessary, except obviously to get home if they're on the road. And there will be no practices for at least 2 weeks. So think about that. No practices for 2 weeks. They're going to need a few days to get back into game shape before they can start. So there's going to be that little period when they finally do come back to do that, kind of like a training camp. They're probably all going to get tested. Players, coaching staff, management, people who work at the arenas, and just people who work for the teams themselves. I would think they're going to test everybody in the league. So that way they have, I guess, a starting point where you could say everybody's been tested. So we know from this day, if everybody comes back clean, we can kind of count 14 days. And then if everybody is still virus free, we can maybe start the season. I would think that's how they're thinking. That's my thinking anyway. I haven't got any confirmation on this. A lot of this, I watched a couple of videos, people's reactions, whatever I could find out. And that's why my video was probably out later than most other people's videos. But I wanted to really make sure I knew what I was talking about as much as I could. So this could affect the cap next season. We might have 0 playoffs and 0 finish of the season. Players are all going to probably get tested. They're probably going to be totally inactive for 2 weeks. The NHL will do their best to be able to get the season and the playoffs done if possible. The draft, the free agency will most definitely be delayed, because if they're going to get the season finished and the playoffs done, then you can't do the draft or the free agency till after that's done. So that's going to be delayed. And I think that's it. I don't want to say anything more. I'm probably going a little too long. Sorry for that. What I do want to say, last thing, I would like to ask everybody who's watching to please, everyone, do your part. Young or old, doesn't matter what age you are. Yes, you younger people, less likely to have a big effect from the virus, but still do your part. Wash your hands. Try not to get people, try not to be near people. Don't shake hands. Don't hug. Do what they say, fist bump, that kind of stuff. Do that. I mean, not fist bump, elbow bump. Please, everybody try to keep everybody else healthy. It's the right thing to do, and it's what we should all be doing. And don't go anywhere you don't have to. It's for a short period of time. Stay home, go to work, come back home. You need to go shopping and get food. That's understandable. Come back home. Don't go to the movies. Don't go to eat in restaurants. That's my opinion. Believe me, I'm not saying this. This is my opinion I'm giving, but that's what I ask. Everybody stay safe. Keep everybody around you safe. Keep the old people in your life safe. And peace out, everybody. Thanks for watching.